Hey, what's up everybody? Martin Atjazz here with a little demo of how I would use my new sample pack, One Shots Vol.1. Now, my history in sampling is it's pretty old school, you know, Akai sampler, hardly any memory. I didn't have much equipment at the time when I started, but I used to get around that and expand my sound set by using samples from different places, whether it was a sample CD I bought, sampling something out of the room, or I had an O1W keyboard and a crusty old Rhodes Mark 1 back in the day. This is a Mark 2, and I used to sample chords from that, and I found that the sampler became my synthesizer and a palette. And when you're only using a sampler in this way, your creativity expands because you're not overwhelmed by lots of other sounds that are coming in and using sounds that aren't needed. So filling space with something for no reason. You know, less is more in effect. So yeah, it's for me, sampling is really important, and I don't want the art of sampling to be lost. That's why I'm making these packs. A volume 2 will be available later on in the year. And as I mentioned before, 80% of the sounds on this pack are taken from my productions and remixes. I've not been blatant and obvious about, you know, sampling, giving you samples of phrases and stuff like that, because that's not respectful to the people that I've remixed, nor to myself. But there are some very characterful sounds that you will recognize from certain remixes and songs that I've made. So I'm going to throw together a little demo for you so that you can see how I get around using one shots, and how it becomes a real like creative experience, because it's very quick, so you can get your ideas down fast and you're not sat there for hours trying to play chords and whatever. Then especially I'm talking house music more than anything here, and we want something to dance to. We don't want to be sat, you know, studying a piece of music while we're on a dance floor drinking beer. So this is all about the rawness, getting back to it and making sure that you can be creative without the noise. Yeah, so here we go. So I'm going to run through these are some of the sounds. This is a kick bank, or some of it. I like a couple of kicks, especially there. There's like a one I took from the Electron model cycles I designed. So I designed that kick with a nice crispy edge to it. It's tuned just lower than an 808, I think it is, as I remember. This one's nice and soft. I think I might have taken that from vinyl at some point and filtered it. But it's been over-processed so much within my music, taking it from that song, that it's become quite dense, and I like it. So I'm going to throw that down. So I'm just going to do 2 bars here. Or is it 4 bars? Yeah, just 4. So I'll throw there we go, that one down. We'll just put that on every beat. Play that. I'm going to bounce the soft kick off of that like this. We're working at 125 BPM, and I found for like raw house music that really works for me. It gives it pace, and it gives it an attitude. So what we're going to do here, I'll put some effects on it, but I'll start again. This is the piano. It's called the up piano chord stab. An old school kind of piano sample. I made it with a piano sound, and then resampled it again, and it came out. Yeah, it's quite a classic kind of piano sample. I've put a little bit of attack on it, and I've taken the release down so it ends really abruptly. I like that. So again, what I would normally do here is press play and then start playing around with the piano. I've got an idea in mind, so I'm going to just go for this. Just tidy that up, quantize that. There we go, boom. Now that sounds nice, but again, this is only 2 sounds. When I put the hi-hat in on the offbeat, you'll hear how it bounces off the chords quite nicely. This particular hi-hat sample is taken from an old record and off vinyl, and it's actually the hi-hat that was used in Overshadowed by myself and Julian. It's a really nice sound, and what I've done there, I'll play it you whole. I'm going to half that, and I'm going to just give it an envelope. So it's got a little bit of an edge and then ducks down quickly. Just makes it sound a bit gnarly. So another one here, this is Breeze Clap. And now if you've ever heard my remix for Ndinga Gaba called Summer Breeze, you'll know this clap. Combination of my own hand claps, old school claps taken from CDs, whatever, and then nice little reverb on it, and then exported and loaded back in, so I've got it as a one shot. It's a bit long and a bit flappy for 125 BPM, so I'm going to shrink it by half, and it should sound nice and snappy. Yeah, that sounds good. This next sound I'm going to load in is from the Textures and Surface Noise folder from One Shots Vol.1. And this is a really nice tape noise that I took from a C90 cassette. And when I did that, there was no signal going into the tape deck itself. It was just picking up vibrations and noise from the room. So it's like a little bit of a house tune in the background, which I think may be overshadowed. That's where this is also taken from. So this is the tape noise that's on Overshadowed. I've sidechained this to the kick. But not only that, because the chord is also coming out of contact, the sidechains on the whole channel, it's also being sidechained against the chord, which gives the ducking effect a nice rhythm. And if I drop the hat and the clap back in, now the only thing I would say is the chord sounds a little bit meh, so I would put a lo-fi effect on that. On the lo-fi effect, I'd leave it at 8-bit, but I'd take the sample rate up to about 14 or so, 14 K, because you want it to be fizzy, but you don't want it to sound like it's got that big crushing whistle on the top of it. So and I always find that it really helps to sit a sound in, a dirty old piano sound like that. It sits it in the mix nicely. I think for my taste as well, I'd like to throw a little delay on that. Nothing too hefty, but we're working at 125 BPM, so the delay time for 8-dotted, I think, is 360 milliseconds. So it should sound like this. And maybe what we can do now is if we go to the folder, and a lot of things. So we've got sample pack, one shots. Let's have a look at vocal stabs. I like this T. Nice sample. And we'll drop that in there, quite low down. And I think we'll get rid of that echoey tail. So let's make sure it's not too loud. That's nice. So, and last but not least, let's have a look at the see if we can throw a snare in it, so I could show you how kind of a little snare fill would work as well. We've got some really lovely samples in this. So we've got, that's a great noise. So I would maybe put that, I'm going to shrink it down again. I'm going to time shrink it so it's really tight. I'm going to put it on a 16 just before the last offbeat hat. So it maybe another one on the end as well. I'll show you a little trick inside of Contact if you've never seen it before. The script editor, if this is really nice. So if you go into the presets, you can go into factory, performance, and there's a thing called the humanizer. This is great. So I won't touch the note on or note off or the velocity, but I will do a little bit of tuning, volume, and pan. And this throws the sound around in a more human way. That's for the piano. I mean, I could definitely continue making this song and come out with something decent, I think. So yeah, that's how I use One Shots. It's either painting in Cubase or it's throwing sounds into Contact and manipulating them in Contact. You know, I've hardly used any effects on there. The sounds on the pack are pretty leveled, so you should be able to throw them in and work with them without too much messing around. But again, I hope you enjoy using this. Sampling is an art. It's really important for, I think, you know, the future of house music, to keep these methods going and not be using tuned loops that you haven't created. That's not making music. It's not good for you. It's not good for your creativity. It's not good for your creative growth. Do it yourself with decent sounds. That's what I say. And on that, I will leave you, and happy sampling.